I have never reacted to wildlife videos. Okay, this one is Casual Geographic.
Don't be scared, he's just a baby. He will get bigger. Close your eyes and visualize the most disrespected animal on Earth. Now open them and apologize for not thinking of the living laundry lint. You don't respect this dinosaur nearly enough. Many people have never seen this flying fossil.
Flying fossil? I've seen that plenty and plenty times before. They were all black and turkey vultures.
Or they have and never wish to ever again.
I love vultures.
The world would be a legitimate horror movie without them, yet this creature and its kind are still very much maligned by humanity. Well, you'll see why. The first two videos pretty much sums up our relationship with them, especially when you let it play all the way. I told you, just a baby. That is a baby Andean condor.
That's a baby? That nigga is huge.
And condors are Jurassic vultures on steroid.
Those are the largest birds on the world. The Andean condor. The largest existent birds, and they're still endangered.
There's the Andean and the California condor, and both are built like a prehistoric paralysis demon. They're the closest relative of Argentavis, and I live a life of decency and virtue, because otherwise I know I'd see this homicidal death pigeon in hell.
Argentavis. Oh my gosh, it was so fucking enormous.
Argentavis flexed a wingspan of up to 23 feet. Wait a
23? I thought it was like less than that. I thought it was like 6 or 7 or 8. 23? What?
as much as an adult man.
It barely fits on the screen. That hitbox is criminal. You look like a hitbox. Get on somewhere with that nut-ass cut of yours.
It would have been about the size of a Cessna 152.
What is a Cessna 152? I'll make an edit of it.
And on the ground, they would have looked that same grown man in the eye.
If any real-world animal is looking you straight in your face at its normal level, then you are tiny.
The condors of today are slightly smaller, with Andeans having a wingspan of nearly 11 feet.
11. While eagles rock about 6, 8, 7, 4.
Which is how the bird can stay in the air for hours without flapping their wings once.
Can't a bird fly for months?
In fact, by using thermal drafts, one condor managed to soar for 5 hours and cover 100 miles.
Car trip. Let me take a flight on that one.
All that and no flap. The feather relic is also one of the longest living birds, with some surviving up to 70 trips around the sun. Not only does puberty turn an avian dust bunny into Skeksis from Dark Crystal, they end up becoming the biggest birds of prey on Earth.
I thought this was another Argentavis. Hello? This is still alive?
You can't imagine waking up to a dragon and drag outside your window.
Waking up and just seeing a dragon towering over me. Like, I don't know what to think.
And that's because you're not from Chile. Not only is it the national bird of Chile, shout out to Chile.
Chile or Chile? Do you call it Chile or Chile? Why does this flag look like Texas, to be honest? I don't know.
They even have a Chilean comic based on them called Condorito.
I'm sorry. That bitch is ugly.
Lucky for Chileans, this dog, and my mental health, condors are absolutely harmless.
Good.
Unless you watch Total Drama.
Bad.
Because that might have been the first time Alejandro got his rocked.
It's universal. If you are taking the eggs of birds, you're kind of asking to get slapped.
But yeah, it's a good thing that a bird that could pass for a man in a suit is a scavenger.
Yeah, good for you. while we have harpy eagles that can carry fucking monkeys. And last year, the first recorded attack from a harpy eagle ever recorded happened. I don't know, animals can be very unpredictable.
To be fair, that is a man in a suit, but it's for a good reason. Dude, I was kidding about the Jesus. Time really hasn't been kind to the condor. It might actually be the dinosaur left behind. Way back in the day, California condors made a meal out of megafauna like mammoths, bison,
Carnivores. They're still birds of prey even if they are scavengers.
and giant ground sloths after they passed tense. It's believed that it was the presence of plus-size prey in the Pleistocene that allowed condors to get so big. The problem is, mammoths and giant sloths got discontinued a while ago, meaning a literal big bird got left holding the bag. It's a biological anachronism. The condorito was built for a time that is long gone, and when many of the megafauna disappeared, the condor flirted with the oblivion too. Somehow they survived, but that would not be the closest condors would come to extinction. The sick joke is, DDT was really good at murking insects.
Fuck you, DDT. Who invented these DDT? We've got bug spray now. We here in 2026 have bug spray now. So y'all can fuck the shit right off.
Insects, but even better at erasing everything else, and condors caught the biggest stray, since the same pesticides would weaken eggshells and cause them to break. Condors only have one egg every 2 years, and the lint chicken that comes out can take up to 8 to mature, and this painfully slow reproductive rate only made the effects of DDT hit harder. But wait, there's more. As an aerial coffin, many condors die from lead poisoning caused by the bullets hunters leave in the dead. Benno Beowulf was a condor raised in the Los Angeles Zoo who was released to help contribute to the population. He never would, as he would die 3 months later with an air gun pellet in his gizzard and another statistic for lead poison.
In the gizzard? So you just took that shit straight to the stomach? Oh my gosh, that has to hurt.
And if that wasn't bad enough, Johnny Cash nearly soloed the entire species. Johnny Cash is known for many songs that I cannot name, but I do know him as the guy that got high, started a fire to stay warm, and caused a forest fire that not only burnt 500 acres of a national forest, it cooked 49 of the condors living there. When asked, "Did you start the fire?" Cash said, "No, my truck did, and it's dead, so you can't question it."
Arrest his ass.
Okay, Cash. When asked if he felt bad, Johnny said, "Well, I feel pretty good right now."
Nah, life in prison.
Evidently, the forest wasn't the only thing that got blazed, and when the judge reminded him of his hate crime towards condors, Cash asked, why should he care?
Death sentence.
After the federal government took $125,000 worth of care out of his account, he got his answer. Also, I lied. I can name one song, Ring of Fire. No currency could bring the condors back, though, and years of getting jumped by DDT, lead poisonings, and human hubris had
23? Is that millions?
the California
It's like 60 million, 61 million, 50 million, 23 million by 1980. That is so sad.
condor population down all the way to 27 left in the world by 1980.
23? 23 the number, not 23M, not 23K? 23023? What?
The bird from a land before time was about to flatline. That is until folks finally decided to step up. For all the damage done to the condor, humanity came in clutch for the cause. They went all out, first by capturing all the wild condors left, and when they were done, every condor alive was in captivity. Then they really put in work. Condor eggs have a longer release time than a Spider-Verse movie, but a biohack is that condors will often lay a second, even third egg if the first one is removed. So the strat was to collect condor eggs for caretakers to raise themselves, basically doubling the output. This would save the condor population at the last absolute second, as condors would begin to be airdropped back into the wild in the 90s, and today, there's over 500 California condors, both in captivity and seasoned across the Southwest. There is one problem with raising condors, and it's that the condors can become attached to humans, and like we always say on this channel,
Imprinting will fuck an animal up so hard.
the worst thing a wild animal can do is lose its fear of people.
That's a death sentence.
The Condor Compromise was raising these floof nuggets with hand puppets in their parents' likeness. This allowed keepers to teach baby condors how to condor while also retaining their natural fear of humans, which I thought was what was happening here, but I looked into it and this has nothing to do with conservation. This is just love of the game. Must be mutual because if you look closer, that's also a condor in a man suit.
Um, who's who? Is that man a condor? Is the condor a man?
Convincing, right? But raising condors is more than just throwing meat at a panhandling puffball. There's a method. In the late 80s and early 90s, folks started raising kid condors in this like daycare system, but with no older birds. But because they had no older birds to use as role models, when the condors were released, they basically acted like teenagers with their parents gone for the weekend. They do things like approach people, invade campsites, and even enter buildings. Things you don't want an endangered species doing, so we had to adjust. Instead, folks shifted tactics based on how wild condors come up and would have a baby sitting by itself most of the time, only occasionally being visited by an adult, aka a puppet. Later on, they'd be assigned an older mentor condor to show them the ropes, and in the final step, both would be moved to a flight pen for the fledgling to learn how to fly. And caretakers would teach stranger danger by using the business end of a water gun on any condor that got too friendly with humans to keep them appropriately people PTSD. They'd also use like shock therapy to teach condors to avoid frying themselves on power lines. But the job's not finished once you have condors in the wild. I won't call them the pandas of birds because, well, one, pandas don't deserve that, so
All the strays this man throws at pandas.
of plug, but two, condors have an even harder time making more of themselves. 25% of California condor eggs are infertile duds that have to be replaced before the couple gives up. Side note, I just remembered, condors can pull a Virgin Mary where a female can lay and hatch a fully functional egg with zero male involvement, like maternal menaces. That's parthenogenesis, and I feel like having that move in your bag and almost never using it, even
You learn something every day.
with your population halfway in past tense. Like I get that it's mostly our fault, but like help us help you. Anyway, there's no guarantee once the egg hatches anyway, because many chicks get accidentally poisoned by microtrash, which clogs their system and starves them to death. So researchers gotta constantly sift through the nests for microtrash, and any chick suspected to be contaminated is kidnapped and medevaced for surgery. Which also means someone has to camp by the nest for 24 hours and keep the parents from coming home to an empty one and abandoning it. Gatekeeping a dragon from its child for a day sounds more like a Mr. Beast challenge than a way to spend your zoology.
Okay. You're making it too light. Stealing from a dragon? Like gatekeeping babies from dragons? That's how you get a raised village. And I mean raised with a Z.
Degree. If a released condor can avoid lead poisoning, pollution, and getting deep fried on power lines,
I mean, dude, what is that creature?
it'll roam the skies for decades and hopefully make many more condors along the way. And if they're lucky, they'll have the same partner by their side the whole time. Condors do not get enough credit for how loyal they are. The symbol of unity can have a 5% divorce rate, and a penguin can propose with his best pebble and still get cheated on. But for the most part, a condor will see another condor and just spend the next 40 years making it work. Unless death really does them part. But condors aren't just loyal to their mate. Believe it or not, an overgrown struggle vulture has a social structure on par with chimpanzees and wolves. Condors have a social hierarchy, where every bird knows its rank, especially at the dinner table, where elders dominate. Which is why those raised without other condors end up with avian Alzheimer's, as in they forget their place. But it's not just a hierarchy. Condors will have a friend group that they'll hang with, and if you're around long enough, you'll see them preening, play fighting, and even chasing each other. They'll even look after other injured condors and share food with those that can't do so for themselves. What kind of bird of prey you know that's moving like that? The social butterfly nature is why we had to put on the hand puppets in the first place. When I said condors can get attached to humans, we're talking about a commitment lasting years. Eduardo is an Argentinian cattle farmer who found an injured condor on his property and helped bring the bird back to health. Now, every once in a while, the condor visits a man that saved him as a thank you and even tries to preen him. But to me, the wildest part is the condor didn't imprint on Ed because it eventually went back into the wild instead of following him around, so this venti vulture is actively going out of its way to see him. Who'd expect that kind of emotional depth from a cloud casket? Well, anyone who's worked with them, because they'll tell you that vultures are sky puppies with personalities that'll even have favorite keepers that they'll run to when excited.
I've got told that before.
They're also curious and will play with anything from actual toys to the socks and shoelaces of their preferred human.
Bird World Cup. Where is España? Where is where's Spain? Where's Spain during all this? I'm only seeing USA.
Many keepers swear by vultures being the most fun bird to train because their curiosity and attachment makes them act like precocious children always looking for their parents' approval. They're even on the short list of animals smart enough to use tools, with Egyptian vultures using rocks to crack open ostrich eggs. You wouldn't expect that from a career scavenger and death merchant. Vultures have been underrated, and fun fact, there's old world and new world vultures.
Old, new. Just like there's old world sparrows and new world sparrows, like passerids.
And they're not related. Vultures are essential workers. They're just so important that nature went ahead and made them twice. But this is not a vulture glaze video, so before we talk about the good, we gotta speed run the side you probably already know.
This shit.
Everything I've said about vultures is still true, but it's also true that they have the nastiest diet of any animal.
What were we expecting?
They'll eat the foulest, most putrid piece of meat like a kid eats candy, and having a weak beak and feet means they'll break into a body from the worst half.
Are you talking about, the south side? No.
Which is why vultures are bald. No point in having feathers when you're gonna be neck deep in a dead buffalo.
That is some disrespectful shit to have feathers deep inside of.
Being bald also helps with temperature. So does another thing they do. Vultures practice urohydrosis, where they'll leak liquid nasty all over their legs.
The white angel of shit.
To cool off like sweat. So if you see a vulture with ashy feet, now you know. Also, some vultures will weaponize their diet, as turkey vultures will projectile vomit sewer-smelling foulness I can't even imagine. Or maybe I just don't want to. Especially if they spray you in the eyes, and if it hits feathers, the acid nerfs the ability to fly. That's not the most offensive thing vultures do. Contrary to popular belief, black vultures will camp out in flock around sheep giving birth and immediately swarm the newborn, gouging the eyes out and eating the blind lamb alive. That's not even mentioning what vultures do to the economy. You do know vulture vomit and dookie juice can cause power outages when they pile up on transmission towers, and that vulture curiosity can send your car insurance into the stratosphere.
Ooh, this shit.
As necro-tweeties are liable to scratch paint, rip rubber seals and wipers off cars, and even tear the vinyl seat covers from boats and tractors. That's not as bad as the possibility of them contaminating water sources with their acidic feces, when the coliform bacteria from it invades water towers or reservoirs. Not to mention, being the highest flying bird can backfire when they join the Mile High Club after getting rear-ended by a plane engine, which makes vultures, in terms of damage, one of the costliest animals in America, estimated to cause about $3 million and $1.2 million in damages to military and civil aircrafts respectively. When you add the dent they leave in infrastructure and livestock, vultures are capable of burning a multi-million-dollar hole in the economy. But the real damage is to the economy of your social life. Let a guest see, smell, or otherwise perceive a committee of vultures on your property, and that might just be the last time they ever come over. But most people would probably forgive all of that if they weren't so ugly. So it's not hard to see how people see a vulture and see nothing but a nuisance. Well, vultures have no business being as OP as they are. Many animals have powerful digestive juices to eat carcasses.
I knew we were getting to this.
But no animal can match a Hades chicken's internal fortitude. Vulture's stomach acid has a pH lower than 1.
Lower than 1? Like, are we pH 0.5? 0.1? 0.0001?
Meaning they can destroy toxins like anthrax and cholera.
This bird is the cure for the virus.
That would one-shot almost anything else. Botulism is considered the most potent natural substance on Earth, as the toxins produced by bacteria attacks the body's nerves, causing muscle paralysis, difficulty breathing, and even death. Let alone the fact some people pay to put that in their face. The vulture's nervous system is resistant to that same bacteria, and can also tank the same bacteria that can cause tetanus and gangrene with zero effects. Not to mention, when they're knee-deep in death and decay, leaking liquid on their legs not only cools them, it acts as an antiseptic that kills bacteria on contact. Vultures are what that 0.1% of germs are afraid of, and pathogens like tuberculosis, salmonella, leprosy, and even rabies meet their end in a vulture's gizzard.
R.I.P. Like, even the fucking bones, like, dude.
Which is a big deal because if you watch this video, another plug, but you know rabies is the disease that scares me the most.
I think rabies is the disease X. It's already here. It's gonna kill us all. Thankfully, we have a virus. Oh shit. Thankfully, we have a viral vaccine.
The idea of a disease rewiring your brain chemistry for the worse while also making you afraid of water, something that is non-negotiable if you want to live,
Disease X.
haunts me. Rabies buries an estimated 70,000 people a year, and with the most common cause of cases being dog bites, it's most destructive in areas with a large stray population, like India. But there's two things India did that gave rabies the green light. First was them criminalizing euthanizing stray dogs, but the main reason was a complete accident. Diclofenac was a drug used as a painkiller and anti-inflammatory for cattle, but that same drug also caused fatal kidney failure in the vultures that ate them.
Oh, damn.
This did an absolute number on the vulture population, with many species cut down by 99%. Not only was it one of the fastest collapses of a bird species, the consequences of the sudden disappearance of nature's cleanup crew was predictable, as the number of rabies cases skyrocketed. And you remember what I said about vultures in the economy? Well, the free fall of the vulture population likely led to the deaths of 500,000 people, and an economic loss of $70 billion. From 2000 to 2005. But don't think it's just India that benefited from a scavenger stimulus package. Anthrax outbreaks are a semi-common occurrence in places like Kruger National Park in South Africa and Virunga National Park in the Congo, especially in places where you can have pool parties that contain more hippo than pool, and these outbreaks can kill up to 100 hippos at a time. Not only that, but these outbreaks can reach humans, as in 2011, over 500 cases of anthrax poisonings in humans were reported after 80-something hippos died of the same. Now imagine the carnage if you didn't have bald-headed equalizers clearing the disease for the free. Like I said, there's a reason nature thought vultures were so nice they made them twice. Vultures also contribute to society in less dramatic ways, as in the 1930s, the Union Oil Company of Texas started putting mercaptan in natural gas, and with turkey vultures often gathering around the smell, they'd use the birds as markers to locate gas leaks.
That's actually kind of smart.
Vultures also act as an alarm bell for illegal poaching activity.
Yup. She's a hero. He's a hero. Everybody, let's clap for them.
As them circling over an area, it's like a Batman signal to park rangers. Unfortunately, that has also made them a target for poachers, who purposely try to poison them. Evidently, the only toxin vultures have no answer for is humanity. Like I said, you do not respect vultures nearly enough, and I take back what I said about them being ugly. The griffin vulture mogs any eagle you can think of. The bearded vultures, like a Pokemon fire type, come to life.
That nigga looks like a phoenix.
The king vulture is just an ethereal specimen of a...
This is a mythical creature. That's real.
bird. That is, if you can ignore the chesticle situation.
Why the hell did you show me that?
You know, my sweet baby boy. If there are no condors alive, just know that I have died.
Yeah, and that will do it for this video. And more geographic casual more casual geographic is coming soon. I react to wildlife videos, My Little Pony videos most days. It's kind of rare, but we are Dark Knight Dragons, and we will see you in the next one.